Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go ahead and expose myself and show you guys the top 5 losses that I took in the month of June. Now, as you guys know, still a profitable month of June. You can see that in my last video, the P&L. Also a great start to July. So the losses that you see in this video were obviously outweighed by winners. Still a profitable month. But let's go ahead and dive into these losses. I'll label what I did wrong with these losses. We'll run through every single trade. We'll look at the chart. We'll look at my entry, my exit, and hopefully you guys can take this as a way to learn. And I'm going to take this as a way to learn from my losses as well. So I can always refer back to this, learn from my losses, and we're going to use a system called TraderSync where it sort of automates everything for us. We can see when I got in, when I get out, and we can label the things that I did wrong. So hopefully after watching today's video, you guys will enjoy it, you can learn something, and you can enjoy the transparency that I provide on this channel. If you do enjoy it, make sure to press that like button before you head out, subscribe to the channel for some more videos, and make sure to press that bell notification so you know every single time that I post. So guys, what you see here on the screen is TraderSync, and TraderSync links directly up with my Interactive Brokers and gives me a little bit more insight into what I did wrong, what I did right, gives me, ideas about my win percentage, what hours I perform best, gives me a little bit more insight, so hopefully I can try to improve as a trader. Now, this is not a sponsored video. I just really like this website, and I'm using it today to give you guys a clean way to see what I did wrong on my top 5 losses of the month of June. So here you go, guys. Here are my top 5 losses on the screen. Tesla, Amazon, Roblox, Nvidia, and Roku. All of them about $1,000, about cumulative about $5,000 in losses in the month of June. Those are my top 5. Now, of course, I showed you my June P&L up about $2,200 on the month. I showed you my July P&L so far, about a $20,000 gain. So in between June and July, still a profitable month, still profitable in that period. But here are my cumulative largest losses. So I wanted to show you today, and I wanted to learn from it, and maybe that'll help you guys out as well. If there's someone out there that is not showing their losses, that is not claiming to lose on trades, you really need to be questionable about what they're talking about and if they are someone you can really learn from. Now, I'm not saying that to be, try to promote myself in any type of way. I'm just here being transparent, trying to share my experience as a trader with you guys, trying to help you learn, being genuine, showing you my losses. So here it is, guys, and here are my top 5 losses between this time period. I'd actually like to continue to use this TraderSync to maybe do this on a monthly basis, and we can learn together on the YouTube videos. But let's go ahead and dive into this. So guys, up on the screen, you're going to see the TraderSync on the left, and you're going to see Thinkorswim on the right, and we're going to look at exactly what I did wrong in these scenarios and learn from them. So my first entry on these put options was 12.28. I took 5 of them at 12.28. That is this candle right here, 12.28. Let me actually move this up so you can see the time on the bottom, so we can see everything here. So that is 12.28, this candle right here. So first thing, I got in with these puts looking for more downside, but what did I do wrong here? I got in at an overextended entry. So you can see I labeled this overextended entry. I took this when the stock was a little bit further away from the 9 EMA than I like. It would have been a better entry to get into like right here when we retested the 9, over here when we retested the 9, using those put options to play the downside. But I got in really at an overextended time. And I actually continued to add to this when I started to see this move back higher. I figured maybe this was a dead cat bounce, but I did not realize at the time, obviously this is all in hindsight, that I was entering into put options on a time where the stock was pretty overextended past the 9 EMA to the downside and was most likely due for a bounce. So you can see I got in pretty heavy there, and I went ahead and I exited at 12.31, which was right when we broke above the 9 EMA right here. So I do like in this situation that I did exit when I saw it break back above the 9. That is aligning with my strategy when I'm taking put options. But what I don't like about this trade and what I did wrong was, one, a little bit heavy of size at the time, very heavy, but also I got in overextended here when the stock was too far past the 9 EMA. So that's the first one. Here's my first big loss. This is the largest loss of this time period. Hopefully you guys see that. When I'm trading puts to the downside, I'd much rather be entering on these retests to the 9 EMA rather than entering when the stock is already pretty far flush to the downside. And I quickly got turned on here, and you can see the result. About a 23% loss, about $1,100 on this trade. Guys, the second trade here is an Amazon trade, and this one really hurts because I took way too much size. I got out really quickly, and just the trade did not work out for me, and I took about $1,000 loss on this trade. So here is the trade. Right here, 11:31, I got in some puts. I got 10 contracts, a lot of size, about $13,000 in the trade. This was when the account was getting pretty large, started to get a little bit larger in the positions, and it did start to bite me a little bit. So this is sort of proving to me that getting into those 10 contract size is a little bit too large for my taste, and I definitely have scaled down. If you're in the Discord, you know I've been scaling down both Monday and Tuesday. So here is the Amazon trade. I got in here at 11:31 looking for a fail of the 9 EMA for some more downside. So I sort of was using that 9 EMA strategy to see if I could try to play some more downside after failing that 9 EMA. You can see the large size and the 9 EMA fail were both the two things that I labeled this losing trade. So really all that went wrong was I got in here at 11:31, looked for the downside move off the 9 EMA, but probably at that time the NASDAQ was bouncing, Amazon reclaimed the 9 and continued higher, so I had to cut that loss. It was about $1,100 loss. So that's the second one on Amazon, just having a little bit too much size, getting in at the 9 EMA and it just not working out, cutting my losses when it didn't look right. So if I have to say one pro of this, I cut the losses at the right time. I kept it relatively small for the position size I took. Just, it's $1,100 because I took a lot of contracts. The loss was relatively small in percentage points, and it was a good time to cut it. So in hindsight, too much size, 9 EMA strategy failed me there, and I just have to move on and learn from it, and that's why I'm making this video. So number 3, let's go ahead and get into the next trade. Number 3 here is on Roblox, and this was just a total chase of a trade, something that really hurts and really something that I'm learning from and I really haven't done this much since. This was back on June 9th, so about a month ago, I took this trade and I got really beat up on it, and it's something that I really stayed away from and really adopted that 9 EMA pullback. Since this actually lost, I remember quite well, and it just was really nasty. I chased this stock higher, and it was definitely something that I learned from. So it looks like on June 9th, Roblox must have got some news or got some really big push higher, and I tried to take advantage of this momentum, trying to scalp it a little bit higher. So at 12:53, I got in here with 10 contracts of a $96 strike at 12:53. That was right here on this pullback. Got in, added a few more on this push higher, thinking that Roblox would continue, and it looks like that Roblox just did not continue. And the thing that I did wrong here was I did not cut my losses when it broke below the 9 EMA. I should have been out of this trade right here at 13:02. 1:02 p.m. I should have cut my losses here and moved on. But what I did was I continued to hold this, hoping and wishing for it to come back higher, and that is just not the right thing to do in this position. So you can see where I got a loss here on Roblox. I ended up selling at 122, which was right here after this flush candle back to the 40 EMA. So I got out, took my $1,000 loss here on Roblox, but the thing that I did wrong here, I labeled it overextended entry, got in way too far past the 9 EMA, would have much rather have seen maybe an entry at the 9 here, and if it didn't work out, get out really quick and take a small loss. Whereas this scenario, the loss was a little bit too large for my liking, and that's why I wanted to show you in today's video. So this trade, way too overextended, taking it way too far over the 9 EMA, and just wanted to share it with you guys today so you can learn from my mistakes and we can sort of review these losing trades. All right, so number 4 here is NVIDIA, and this was labeled just disobeyed my strategy, and it was also a 9 EMA strategy fail. So I'm going to run down this trade for you right now. So here's NVIDIA, about a $1,000 loss. I took 10 contracts. This was another one where I scaled up. So I definitely am learning, just doing this video myself, I'm learning that 10 contracts is probably too much size for me moving forward, and I'll probably bring it back down to 5. The account size was growing. We got up to $40,000. I was sort of comfortable with taking a little bit more size, but in that case, these losses are just getting too big for me. Of course, these are my biggest losses of the month, so these are sort of pointing out the worst ones of the group, where there was a lot more smaller losses and a lot of big wins as well. But we're just focusing on the bad here in this video, so hopefully you guys are sort of enjoying that. But 13.13, I got in this trade at 1:13 p.m. That was right here on this candle. I saw a breakthrough VWAP, a hold of the 9 EMA, And it looks like I was sort of chasing here just a little bit because the real entry was actually right here at the 9 EMA about 3 minutes earlier. I saw it start to move without me. I probably got a little bit of FOMO at that time, and I thought that NVIDIA could continue. I got in here at 13.13, which is 113, got in with 10 contracts, and what you guys can see is it just chopped around, and as soon as it dipped below this 9 EMA, I should have been out of this trade right here. This should have been my exit, but it looks like that I continue to hold and I continued to pray, and that holding and praying is the reason why this loss shows up here as one of my lost or one of my worst, because I was just letting it go, wishing to see if we could come back. Now, if we fast forward, it looks like I got out of this trade at 13.53, which was right here on this candle higher. So as soon as I saw it pop, I just decided, you know what? Let me get out of this, take my loss, and move on. You can see I continue to hold this even though the stock was trading below the 9 EMA for almost 10 minutes here. I just held it, and that does not align with my strategy. So this was definitely disobeying strategy, and the 9 EMA just not working out for me, because you can see the 9 EMA did not bounce. We did not get that push higher, and it just failed under. NVIDIA chopped around. This was just not one of my best trades, forcing that entry at a high, a little bit too overextended past the 9 EMA, and not cutting my losses when I should have, and that is why I took a $1,000 loss here on NVIDIA. All right, guys, so the last one in today's video, this is Roku. This is my 5th largest loss, and here is the trade. So I took 10 contracts at 14:44, 2:44 p.m., and that is right here on this candle. That was actually a good trade in hindsight. I like the flag, I like the 9 EMA hold, and it looks like I was going for that break of that flag pattern. It just didn't work out. The trade did not work out. It did not hold the 9 EMA, and I had to cut my losses, and because I was scaling up at that time, it was a relatively large loss, about $986. So you'll see just about 2 minutes later, after the 244 entry right here, I actually cut my loss as soon as I saw it break below the 9 EMA. So for this trade, all I really labeled it was just a fail of my strategy. The strategy failed me. It didn't hold up. It didn't bounce off the 9. And I did cut my losses at a good time. I cut them when it failed below the 9. Obviously, in hindsight, you can see this thing went higher, but you can't think like that at the time. This thing could have easily rolled over, and this loss could have turned into a much bigger loss instead of $986. So this one, 5th largest loss, $986. All it was just a fail of the 9 EMA. I had to cut my loss there, and that is a good example of when this strategy doesn't work out and why you just have to cut the loss. Of course, it's bigger because I took a lot of size, but it's really only 10% of my entry. So if you went with $1,000, you would have lost about $100 in this situation, which is a manageable loss. Just because I got a little bit larger here, was up quite a bit on that day because of Roku. This was a good day for Roku, a big day for Roku. Made a lot of money on Roku on this day, but I was a little bit confident, had a lot of profits in the bank, looked for another move, just didn't work out, and I lost about $986. So that is my 5th largest loss, and that is how it happened. All right, guys, so that's about all that I have for you in today's video, just reviewing my top 5 losses, being transparent, sharing you my journey as a trader. Hopefully you can learn from these mistakes, and I'm definitely going to learn from them myself, and that's why I like making this video. I'm keeping myself transparent. I'm keeping myself, responsible for the losses that I take, so hopefully in the future I can learn from them and improve as a trader myself. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to press that like button before you head out. Subscribe to the channel for some future videos, and make sure to press that bell notification so that you guys know every single time that I post. With that said, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.